Hello, fish heads, fishermen, and fisher women. Hi, well, why are we here and what the hell is this? This is the best fishing game you have never played. Literally. This here is a Russian game. Yeah, that's right, Russian. I know, many of you don't even know what this alphabet is, but bear with me. A little bit of a pre-story. I really love fishing in real life, and ever since I had a computer, I've been looking for a decent fishing game, and I really haven't found anyone that is better or even close to as good as this one is. And yes, it is in Russian, and this might be problematic for some people, but most of the things are paired with icons, so you don't really need to know what it says. It's pretty obvious most of the time, if not all the time. Um, recently, the Fishing Planet is another game on Steam that I've played, and while it's 3D and it looks way more realistic than this game here, it's still very pale, very shallow in comparison. So this is the best fishing game I have found. I've spent tons of hours in this game, and I haven't played it for a while, but I decided to come back to it, and it's really amazing. I wanted to share with you guys the game that you probably wouldn't have found otherwise, because there are some people doing videos on it on YouTube, and it's in Russian, so it's hard for international audiences to actually find out about this game. It's almost free, and what I mean by that is the price is something around $1 or $2, right? It's really cheap. It's like it's ridiculous. It's basically they're just paying for the hosting at the moment. It's a team of few people that is developing this game, and there are constant updates. The game has been out for a few years, so huge improvements. Let's start from the beginning. Okay, this is basically your home. You see here a map. This is the map of your home. But let's begin with the stuff. The game is not 3D. It relies on a uh, pretty much on pictures. Yeah, that's right. You heard me right. It pictures, but quite beautiful, and actually it's very calming. And I don't mind it not being 3D, to be honest, because the gameplay is way better than anything else. All those trophy bass fishing games with the boats and being 3D and stuff, gameplay wise, they can't even come close to this one. So let's see. This is Lake. This is your first initial place where you begin your home base, pretty much. So these are the different venues that you can fish from. So let's just go here, and there you go. So this is the name. You don't need to know what it means. You need to just remember where you were based on where you clicked and how the actual venue looks like, and you need to fish. So what do we do now? You click on the obvious place here where these icons. I mean, you just play for literally 15 minutes and you'll know what the hell is going on. So there you go. You start with one rod, 3 kilograms. Sorry guys who are from the States, it's in kilograms. You start with one rod. There is a reel. There is your the rest of the equipment, pretty much. Basically, the only things that you need to buy is the rod, the reel, the line. Depending on how many kilos line you buy, you might break the rod. For example, if your rod is 3 kilos, like right here, and your line is 4 kilograms, it means that if I catch a fish that's 5 kilos, or 3 kilos and a half, or 4, etc., there's a chance that because the line is stronger than the rod will break first. So When it comes to the reel, they have a power level and how used they are, pretty much. So once this get to 0, you need to either repair it, sell it, or just throw it away and buy a new one. Obviously, these are the buttons to remove them. I have here two 3 kilos and a 5 kilo one. You can choose the size of your hook, whether you're gonna be float fishing, whether you're gonna be bottom fishing. So everything is there, and it's really rich in terms of what hooks. Pretty much everything you see in other fishing games in terms of customization. However, 150 times more choices. So it's way richer than anything else I've played. There's spinning as well, but this level I haven't. So this is match fishing here. So let's get this out and let's see. So we have a worm on bottom fishing, and you just pretty much just either click the big button or you double click. So here is the rod, and you're hungry. So there you go. This is something here. You see how it says something something something. You don't need to understand Russian again. You just need to learn that this one here, the left bar, is for food. If you're hungry, you won't be fishing. So you go to the big bucket and you just eat the can of food. Yeah, you can buy this food. It's very cheap. It's from the shop. You can buy 150 for now pieces of different types of food, bread and cans of fish and dried fish and whatnot. All right, so now that we have eaten and we're not hungry, we can just throw somewhere. You can see here it's 11 o'clock 10 minutes. Um, these two letters represent which day of the week it is, but you don't need to pretty much know this. You will just, oh, there you go. And there's a fish. There's a fish. Okay. The name of the fish, you can Google Translate if you want. If you want to know the name of the fish in your language, in English or whatever other language it is. Most of the fish, if you've been fishing in Europe or any other place where most of these fish are caught, you will know them without actually having to translate the name. So, how do you make money? You make money by catching certain um, size fish. What do I mean by that? Well, this one says it's 20 grams. This is a really small fish, something on the bottom by the looks of its mouth. Um, and here where it says ocenevitsa, this is in Russian, and it says that if you catch a fish 35 grams or more, you will get paid extra. What do I mean by extra? Now, there are two ways of selling fish. One is to sell it by kilo, so you get really very low amount of cash based on, let's say you've caught 11 kilos of fish by 5, maybe you'll get wait, it's not even that, you'll get maybe 50 bucks. Yeah. This blue one here, this one is where it says here is that it's more than the limit, which means that I caught it heavier than the 550 grams and I'll get paid. Now, the more you get it above this is what is going to represent how much you get paid. So if this was a kilo and a half, and this one, the line for bigger payment is like 550. If it was kilo and a half, it will be very good pay. But because it's 585 grams, just 35 grams more than the limit, it means that I'm not gonna get much. But I'm still going to get paid more than if I would to sell it per kilo. Now, this fish, again, 1 kilogram, the limit. I got 1.2. I'm gonna get paid more. So you can recognize by the color here in your uh, living fish quarters or whatever. You don't. You can have 300 fish, which is another thing I want to talk about. At Fishing Planet, in that game, you need to upgrade your gear in order to have more fish. But in the beginning, it's really tedious because if you think about it, you cannot keep a fish that's more than a kilo and a half or something like that On top of that, you couldn't have more than, let's say, 4 kilos of fish. It's ridiculous. It's really tedious. The game is really slow, and yes, it's realistic. Yes, the 3D graphics are great, but it's really, really slow. And this is something that I um, I dislike in that game. It yes, the engine is great and it's really beautiful and stuff, but the gameplay, I mean, you play it a little bit and then it becomes just tedious. And and that's why I'm coming back to this game. It's called Russian Fishing 3, this one. So let's throw again basically. We have one more worm here. It's 1 o'clock 40 minutes in the afternoon. Um, we don't know where to throw now. I mean, it's random. I mean, we can go to another place, for example, see how it is. You see, all these pictures are from real places. They're actual pictures. It's not like 3D graphics or anything. And yes, it's static, but in my opinion, it does really look good. Now, we can go here, for example. Just take out all three. Um, you reel with the G key. Oh, there's a fish. You reel with the G. Yeah, it's a redfin and it's quite small, so I'm not going to pay it. You reel with the G. Um, you actually try and pull the rod and actually set the hook with H. Let me show you now. If I go and hide this one, um, wait, there's a fish. There you go. Another one, too small. So if we put here a different hook, and we put, yeah, no matter on what it is, we put a different hook, right? And if the hook is not for bottom fishing, it's gonna be a float, you see? And that float, you can decide how deep to be. Well, another fish. So, again, a small one. So basically what you do is, you right click on the float, you set it depth, and you just throw it somewhere. Now, if it's like that, it means it's too, oh, another fish. It means it's too shallow. So basically we need to set it up lower. 175 maybe. There you go. There's a float. So you set the hook with space. We set the hook with space. I'll show you now. Once the fish is ready, once your float goes underneath the water surface, you just press the space and you start reeling in. If it's a bigger fish, you have to reel in and press H. So G, H, G, H. You can obviously change the keys, I think, and set some other keys the way you prefer. So it's really easy with smaller fish because you don't have to press H at all. You don't have to give it some break or pull the whole rod. You just reel in and you catch the fish. However, when the fish is bigger, you need to be pressing those buttons really carefully, because here where it says Udочка and Leska is how you pronounce those things. It doesn't matter though. Point is, you remember the top one is for your, oh, there you go. And now I'm waiting until it disappears. Well, it stopped biting. So basically these things, these bars here, are for your reels and your line and your actual pole, your actual rod, the match rod, spinning rod, whatever. So if those bars get to the red, there's a chance that you will break either line or your rod. So when there is a bigger fish, those bars go up in a much faster manner. So they'll just go really quickly. You need to be careful. When the fish is small, you don't have to worry about it. With the button F, you just use your net, and you need a net in order to catch fish. I think it was above 3 kilos. The net is really cheap. Here's the money. This is dollars, whatever you want, euros. Just imagine it's gold or cash or whatever. It doesn't matter. So in the beginning, it's it's very interesting to go from different places to try different kind of worms and experiment. And really, the game has tons of uh, it has just tons of places that you can go, rivers and lakes and seas and oceans. It's ridiculous, really. Let me show you now. If we go back and we go to the map here, which means you want to travel, here is the map of Russia, right? And it's huge, and it's based on levels. It's huge. Every single one of these is a different place where you can fish, and every single one of these dots has different venues at it. So it's extremely rich, and from trout to bass fishing to shark fishing, it's ridiculous. So here is Europe, continental Europe. Here is Russia. This is Greenland here, and this is the Amazon. You have Polynesia. You have Dove Lake and the Reef in Australia. You have the Seychelles Islands. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely crazy. I just cannot express my my happiness when I came back to this game, because the devs are updating it constantly. There are tons of fish. Now, if you go to the shop, you can see there are ton of different rods, sizes. The spinning rods are just ridiculous. Just as you can see, it's really rich in options and ton of fish and places to catch. There are tournaments that are going on every now and then on different places, so you can travel from one location to the other and just tournament hop constantly with real people online. I'm sorry. You can do quests. Basically, this is the classical quest, which you need to go to the specific place for it. Now, there are quests that are general, which means that you need to catch fish with each one of these unnatural baits, pretty much, wobblers, and you just need to catch fish with these type of artificial baits. So once you do it, you will get a really good day. Now it says here you don't have to know it again. You can easily find out what it's given, because most of the time they're icons, and you can just see when they give you money. They give you experience, a lots of money, lots of experience. They give you a free ticket to go to a place where you usually would have to pay quite a bit as well. So you can sell your stuff over here. You can sell them secondhand. For example, if you have a rod that you just don't need anymore because you're higher level or you're going for something that's way heavier, you can just sell it to other people as a secondhand. It's just the game, in terms of gameplay, in terms of richness, it's really, really, really good. It's very deep. There's lots of complex ways to find out what to catch and where, but the really good thing is that you're constantly experiencing something new, because the game is so vast that you'll probably not get bored anytime soon. I mean, it's not repetitive in terms. Yes, the gameplay mechanics, obviously you press two buttons, three, four buttons, but in terms of the actual experience, because spinning you need to, it's in a different way, but the different fish and how strong they're and the way they actually fight, um, it's um, it's quite the experience, which is really what just makes me come back to this game again and again. Um, so you can now see. Let me show you how you sell the fish. You just go to the sign here for selling fish, and basically on each place, each location, not the venue, but each general location, lake or river or whatever it is, there are going to be special mm, advertisements in terms of, okay, this guy wants to buy roach and he will pay 30 per piece, so regardless of how heavy it is. Or this one will pay 50 for crab or whatever. So while you're doing hopping from one location to the other, you can save the fish you caught, so you sell them in a particular place, which will give you more money. Now, first button here is to sell the biggest ones, only the ones that are gonna get extra payment above the limit. And there you go. First fish, 1.2 kilos, 1500. This one was 760, so total $2,332, which is okay. As you can see, I have 6,000. I just started out. Here you can just pay, just sell all fish per kilo. Let's see how much. Okay, so 52 fish, $100. See, this is what I mean by it's really not worth it. There are a lot of things you can do with the fish. You can make bait out of it and stuff like that, depending on the type of fish and its size. But this is for later. For now, I think it's a good introduction. If you have questions, please do ask. Again, the game, once you learn where is what, you will not need to know the language, and you will just forget that the game is not in English. If there is enough interest, something might be done for the game to be translated in English, but then again, we'll have to see about that. It's not something for overnight. And yeah, next time we'll maybe explore some special fishing for special in terms of fishing for particular fish, and maybe how to make some cash early on. If again, if you have any questions about the the names, what mean these strange words here in a different language, please ask, and I might be able to help with that. That's it for now. Happy fishing.